What is up, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time. Beautiful little slate, and I do emphasize little slate, Thursday slate, but we are joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz to help break it all down. One, as always, Mr. Andy Means. At least there's some star power here.
Yeah, Kristi and I were talking before we went live here, and I was saying how I got all my content done in like one. And I was like, all right, 2-game slate. The show's in like 5 hours. This is great. And then LeBron questionable, then Tobias questionable, then LeBron out. So we at least have some moving parts. Makes it a little more interesting. And we're still waiting on some things like Lakers starting lineup and if Tobias is going to play. So not lacking for news, but definitely do have some star power. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Kristi, as always, wonderful to have you. As far as two gamers go, it's kind of a good one, right?
It kind of is. Like Meansy said, we have a couple of questionable tags, LeBron's out. So I think for a two gamer, there's actually a decent amount of tournament plays in there, which is good. So yeah, it'll be fun to see what we come up with.
Okay, well, excited to have Meansy break down the cash angle and then Kristi help us out with tournaments. I'm also going to be taking all of your questions in the RotoGrinders Discord. If you're not on the RotoGrinders Discord, what are you doing? It's where we all hang out all day long. You can ping Meansy 24 hours a day and he will respond to you within 5 minutes, even if it's at 3 in the morning.
Even in the middle of the night.
Even in the middle of the night, you ping him and he will respond. And if not, he owes you money. That's the rule. That's the rule I just
made up. We do have some news, Roth.
Oh, okay.
Real quick, I'm just gonna say it and then I'll let you get back to what you're doing. Okay. But Dwight Howard is not starting. Lakers are starting Westbrook, Bradley, Monk, Stanley Johnson, and AD, and Tobias is in. They're starting Maxey, Korkmaz, Tybalt, Tobias, and Embiid. So as you were.
Okay, I do want to get your takes on that starting lineup that just came out, and with Tobias being in. But first, as this is a free show, a few things that I just gotta really quickly get out there. First off, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe. If not, what are you doing? We're giving you free information. Second off, premium RotoGrinders members can now use the Prize Picks extension. We have all kinds of incredible extensions, DraftKings, FanDuel, and now Prize Picks as well. Another great bonus of being a RotoGrinders member. And also, PointsBet is joining the list of New York sports books, and they are having their official launch. So if you use the promo code RG2K, you get 2 risk-free bets for up to $2,000. You go to the RotoGrinders homepage, go to the sports betting, scroll down, hit the New York, or scroll down and hit Louisiana, because Louisiana is launching sports betting on Friday, which I'm kind of pumped about. So we've got all kinds of promo deals going there as well. And you can find all the best deals right on RotoGrinders. You don't have to search for them. We have them listed out very conveniently for you. Anything you want to add to that? Means you smirked when I said Louisiana. You smirked.
I'm just thinking, I saw you talking earlier about driving 90 minutes to the border. Yeah. And I'm just thinking of Roth, just like going like this. I got to go to Louisiana.
Yeah. I just have been so jealous. I haven't been in on sports betting because I'm in Texas and I haven't been able to partake. And there's all this free money they're throwing at everybody else and all these easy can't miss bets. And now it's just 90 minutes away. It's just a quick little drive. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I don't know if it'll be this weekend, but I'm going to do that soon. Take advantage of all those promo offers. But hey, we got to talk about tonight. We got to talk about this slate. Means generally we like, a little zoom out. We kind of already did that. If you want to talk about the latest news that we just got, how it pertains, and then go through FanDuel Cash, that'd be great. Sure.
The Sixers stuff, nothing moves because Tobias is in. So we have everything set with our projections on that. Dwight was the key piece I was waiting on to see if he started. And I thought he was going to actually, because they're going up against Embiid and AD. This is AD's second game back. So I guess they're going to let AD guard Embiid and probably just throw tons of doubles at him. And Dwight was relevant, and he's probably going to play backup center minutes, but Dwight was relevant just because he's so cheap and we're lacking some really good salary relief plays on this slate. So that's why I was curious, but we'll talk about some Sixers, some Lakers, and some Warriors and some Timberwolves, because those are the 4 teams as I go through FanDuel Cash right now. I have 5 dudes tagged on FanDuel. So pretty straightforward build on FanDuel. Not nearly the case on DK. Looser pricing. I don't know. It's pretty straightforward. So I have Russ and Curry tagged as the point guard plays, and they're only point guard eligible, so that kind of limits you if you're thinking you want to do something else. But as you can see, there's like barely anyone even in the player pool at point guard. We have like for projected for minutes, we have 5 other guys, and some of them have shooting guard eligibility. So if you're not going with those 2 dudes, you're probably putting Maxey at point guard and then playing some other shooting guards. Maybe you're playing D'Angelo Russell, but he has shooting guard eligibility also. So I don't want to spend too much time here because, point blank, I think you should be playing these 2 dudes as your point guards in cash games. So let's go to shooting guard, where you have Maxey at 5'8". I think he is one of the better cheap plays on the slate. And thank God he has shooting guard eligibility, so we can play all 3 of these dudes. Mm-hmm. With him, I'm going to talk about some Korkmaz at 4-5, but he also has small forward eligibility. D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards are projecting really, really close. I think D'Angelo is the slightly safer play, if you ask me. And he saves you $100. I don't know if that's going to be relevant tonight or not, but if you're picking between these 2 guys, I would be picking Russell, and that is not a strong stance by any stretch. Like, they're very, very close plays, but I just feel like Russell is a slightly safer one. Other options here. Monk, maybe. And I do prefer Korkmaz over Monk, for the record. That might be a question we get a lot. Yeah, that's really it so that's really you're picking between spinning up for one of those guys or playing one of these 4K guys. So that's really it. Not a lot to be choosing from here. Small forward. So you have Korkmaz there. If you want him, you have Andrew Wiggins at 6K. You have Matisse Thybulle at 4.3. Those are the main guys. And Otto Porter. Those are the main guys that have been in my player pool here. With the way the build goes, you can see you're probably going to be shopping in that range anyways, in that 4 to 6K range, I should say. So I would be picking between those 4 guys mainly: Thybulle, Korkmaz, Porter, Wiggins. That'll do it there, I think, as the main pool. And then power forward, Looney. Power forward eligibility is big for him. He's 4'9". Has actually really good splits without Draymond. I think he averages like 4 or 5 more fantasy points per game. Minutes are up, and they'll need him too. I know for a good bit. And when they played the Timberwolves last game, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, they just guarded Towns straight up with Looney. We'll see if they do that again. But if they do go that strategy, that just makes his minutes floor even safer, because they don't really have anyone else they can do that with. So regardless, good projection here, good salary relief. So I like him there. The other power forward though is a little tricky. Maybe it's like Porter, maybe it's Vanderbilt. I don't think Tobias is in play for cash games on FanDuel. I do think he is on DK. I didn't really mention him just because it doesn't really fit the bill. He's A1. Like, you just don't have that money to spend when you're paying for Russ, Curry, and Embiid, and maybe Russell, which that might even be a stretch too. So yeah, I think the other 4 spots I have here is going with the cheap guys I mentioned, and here it's probably going to be Vanderbilt or Porter. So that's all I got, man.
Okay, excellent. I love when you have a bunch of guys tagged, because it makes it easy for people doing cash builds, but also it gives me a lot of insight on tournaments and where the ownership is going to be. So Kristi, when you see Russ and Curry and you see those ownership numbers, what are your first thoughts? Like, what are you planning on doing at the guard position?
Yeah, it actually makes me excited because there are a couple of plays that stand out. Now, they are tagged for a little bit higher ownership, but because of lineup construction and because of Westbrook, Curry, and Maxey, some of the guys that Meansy was talking about, D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards are going to make fantastic GPP plays. And in particular, I really like Edwards. They're really close. They're $100 apart on FanDuel. But Edwards just put up 60 plus points in the last game. So we've seen the ceiling, we've seen the upside. So I really like him a ton. Point guard too. I think if you want to get a little bit different and save some value, Jalen Noel with Beverly out. And I think he is out for sure, correct? Do we? Yeah. Jalen Noel.
He's they said unlikely. So he's doubtful.
Yeah.
It's not official yet.
Yeah, exactly. I just think, he's another source of value, which value is pretty hard to find on FanDuel tonight. So I think immediately you're going to get different there. We only have him projected at 20% ownership. So I like him as a sneaky play, and then getting to Russell and Edwards for those guard positions. I like Malik Monk a lot. Now he's in the starting lineup, so he's going to probably carry a little bit more ownership, and his price is good at 4,400, but I like him quite a bit too. For tournament plays, Klay Thompson is still on a minutes limit, but again, he's priced up at 6,200, so he's not going to carry very much ownership, under 10%. If he hits a bunch of threes, he certainly has some upside there. Talen Horton-Tucker, with LeBron being out, he's priced at 4K. We've got him at 22 minutes and at about 11% ownership, but we've seen some upside from him. He's obviously a risky GPP play, but he's someone you could certainly throw in the mix there. And then I'd also throw Malik Beasley in there too. With Beverly out, you've got Beasley and Noel out there. So I think to save some value, those are a couple of guys that I'm looking at for tournaments.
Okay.
On the forward side, like Meansy said, it's really hard to get Tobias in cash games tonight because of his price. I think on DraftKings, when we get to that, he's more of probably a core play over there. But he's 8,100. He has been putting up some really strong games recently. So again, I think he's going to be a little bit more of a GPP play. Wiggins is going up against his old team tonight, which is always a little bit interesting too. So I think,
and he just got named All-Star starter.
Is that what that face was, Meansy? I saw you make a face like you just saw the most offensive thing in the world.
Yes, they just announced Wiggins as an All-Star starter. So as you were, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was just randomly.
I was dying to say it.
Kristi said something, and then I see Meansy go. I was like, was it that big of a hot take what she said? But no, you had just read.
Yeah, I was looking at my Twitter feed. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Good to know.
Exactly. And then the other guy too, I believe he's just power forward, but Bielitsa, again, he's going against his old team as well. He certainly can put up some good points. He's priced at 4K. Gives you a little bit of value there. And there aren't a lot of strong plays, looking at power forward and such. There's going to be a lot of Looney, in cash games, and Porter. But then I'll throw Vanderbilt out there. I mean, he's a great play on DK tonight, but at 6,100 on FanDuel at 37% ownership. I mean, we've seen him put up 50 point games. So I really like him a lot, and probably one of my favorite GPP plays actually, at the forward position. And then center, Embiid is just going to carry so much ownership. So I really like, getting to guys like Karl Anthony Towns, we have him at 30% ownership. He's still a fantastic play, 9,300. So he's immediately going to get you looking a little bit different there. Dwight Howard probably had more interest in him if he was starting, but he is 3,700, but you do have to give up a center spot. So I think Karl Anthony Towns is a good GPP play at center.
Okay, excellent stuff. Let's kick it over to DK here. We're kind of condensed. Normally we have a 40-minute show.
Yeah.
Today, 30 minutes. So let's just jump on over to DK. Talk to me about the cash build over there.
Sure. Real quick on FanDuel, just I want to clarify something I said, and I'm glad Kristi mentioned it because I completely brain farted. I forgot that Monk was the one in the starting lineup, and I think I said I prefer Korkmaz over Monk. I would go Monk over Korkmaz now.
Yeah.
Because those guys, that might be a decision point. I just want that, so that's pretty important that I clarify that. I would go Monk over Korkmaz in cash games. So, all right, over to DK. So I have Westbrook and Embiid tagged. So at that point, it's like we're going to be littering cheap stuff, and the cheap stuff's okay. The pricing's tighter, but we can make it work. So and I was looking at my DK build, and I was like, oh yeah, the Monk situation here. He's one of the better cheap plays now that he's starting. And I was thinking about what I saw on FanDuel. It's like putting him in a shooting guard, I think, is one of the first things you should be doing. So I like him there. Other cheap guards, Tyrese Maxey is not necessarily cheap, but he's still one of the better guard plays. Like I have, as you can see, I have point guard and shooting guard filtered here, and there's like barely anything that's green as far as RG value. So he's not cheap, but he might be the one you play in your guard spot, or, put him in the point guard and then move one of these guys down to the guard spot, whatever. So he's fine. Klay Thompson, he's fine. Korkmaz, those are just guys in this 4 to 6K range that you're going to be using to make these expensive plays work. So those are the main guys. I'll Jalen Noel, maybe if we're projecting Beverly out. So Noel's projecting okay, but I don't think you need to do it actually. So I probably shouldn't even mention him. Small forward, cheap. And I'm pretty sure I'm in the same spot I was when I wrote the article this morning with like 2 Warriors and two Sixers, Korkmaz, Tybal, or Wiggins, Porter, kind of depending on where you fall on the salary spectrum with some other stuff. I'll throw Taylor Horton-Tucker in there too. Maybe he gets a decent amount of run here with LeBron out, AD somewhat limited. So I'll throw his name into the mix there. Jaden McDaniels, just last piece sort of things if it kind of suits the build. But you obviously can't spend up too much here. Like I don't think you're playing Anthony Edwards. So you're getting out as cheap as possible. And it kind of depends on what you're doing in other spots. Power forward. I know Kristi alluded to it over on FanDuel. Tobias does grade out pretty well on DK. He's not as like before the LeBron news hit, I was pretty certain Tobias was going to be in my lineup. But then now with Russ becoming a priority, it's not as easy to also get Tobias. So if you can't get something you like with him, then I'd be coming cheap again, like Melo, Tybal, Vanderbilt, Porter, that range. So maybe McDaniels, but it kind of depends on what you're doing in other spots to see if you can spend up or not. So, and then center, So I was thinking we might have we still might have a discussion on it. Honestly, it's like for sure Embiid for me, and then the util spot is going to be one of Looney or Howard. Like we brought Howard's minutes down to 15 since he's not starting. When we had him starting, we had him like 20 or 21 or something. He's looking like a really good cheap play. So if you think he runs into more minutes than 15 because they just need him to defend Embiid, like obviously he's not starting, so we're factoring that in. I think he's cash viable. I really do. Even though he's not starting on this slate, I would play him in cash. I'm not saying you have to, because you also have Looney, who I had tagged earlier in the day, just because he was basically the last man standing of a bunch of okay cheap stuff after Beverly got ruled or moved to doubtful. So I think you're doing one of those two guys in the util spot, honestly, and they're only center eligible, so it limits you. But I think it's either Looney or Dwight in the util spot. I like them as cheap plays better than some of the other stuff I was talking about at the guards and the forwards.
Okay, excellent stuff. Kristi, let's talk GPPs over on DK. Anything wildly different here from what you were planning over on FanDuel?
Yeah, a little bit, because like Curry, his price tag is a little bit higher, so he's not projected to carry as much ownership. So I think he makes a better tournament play on DraftKings. I think you're looking at Monk and Westbrook are going to carry a ton of the ownership at the point guard position. So, Curry, I think, is a strong tournament play over on DraftKings. Again, like I mentioned, I still like Russell and Edwards a ton. Russell's 7,500. Anthony Edwards is priced up to 8,100. We only have Edwards projected at 14% ownership. So I think that makes him a really good tournament play. Klay Thompson, I like his price point a little bit better on DraftKings. He's 5,300. And again, just shooting a few threes and things like that, you're going to get your lineup a little bit contrarian because, again, Monk and Russell are going to carry a little bit more of the ownership over there. Mm-hmm. So I think he's interesting play. At the forward position, there's a few different ways you can go for sure. Porter and Wiggins will probably be a little bit more popular. But again, you can play Anthony Edwards here in the small forward position. If you really wanted to take a chance too, you could throw Avery Bradley in there. He's only 3,200. He's in the starting lineup. Take a chance on a guy like him that he has a little bit of upside. And then Taylor Horton-Tucker too. I'll get back to him. He's 3,500 on DraftKings. I like him as a play for tournaments on both FanDuel and DraftKings tonight, but he's hardly going to carry any ownership. And if he gets some upside, we have him at about 22 minutes projected tonight. I think he's a sneaky GPP play. Power forward. We talked a little bit about Tobias. He's going to be probably one of the more popular guys. But Jared Vanderbilt, I mentioned him before. I really like him, the upside that he brings. The guy we hadn't really talked about is Carmelo Anthony. I like his price on DraftKings compared to FanDuel at 4,300, and should get a few extra minutes. And again, he certainly possesses some upside too. And then I'll also throw out Bielitsa as well. I mean, he's not carrying any ownership, but I could see him getting some more minutes tonight too, going against his old team.
Okay. Anything at center? I'm sorry, did I miss that?
Nope. I was just going to say, and I got to get to center here. And, again, Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns are going to carry a ton of ownership, but I do at almost min price. I think Dwight Howard is a very fascinating play. Again, going up against his old team, he's going to be pretty motivated. So I like him as a tournament play too, and would maybe try to get him into a utility spot for sure.
Okay, let me talk to you about Russell Westbrook real fast here. I imagine he's going to have really high ownership. I think it was lower over on DK than on FanDuel because of the price.
Yes.
But are you going overweight on him? Are you going underweight? It just feels to me like he has to smash, but maybe not. Is that someone you're taking a stand on?
Yeah, it is. I'm playing on both sides, but playing more on FanDuel tonight. I definitely, Westbrook's a core piece for me. Just with LeBron out, he's priced way too low. Mm-hmm. And I just, with Anthony Davis just coming back into the mix, I mean, Westbrook and Malik Monk are probably two of my favorites on the Lakers. So getting some exposure that way. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he's a good core play tonight.
Okay. Yeah. And I was just curious always, where are you getting different and where are you being okay with that chalk? So
yeah, he's chalk that I'm willing to take tonight for sure because of his price.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. We've got 8-9 minutes left. We can take some QQs. Yep. Mean's got some news.
No, not news. I just want to point something out. I'm not entirely sure how our projected ownership works. I have a feeling it has to do with a lot of it has to do with how well they're projecting. And if you look at Karl Anthony Towns, he's like our third best value. I think that's inflating his ownership a little bit in the terms of what it's projected for. I think it's going to be lower than what we have is what I want to say, because everyone's going to play Embiid and like a cheap center and that swallows up center util. It's like for tournament players, I just think I don't think he's going to be that high is all I wanted to say. And I rarely say that because I know projected ownership is freaking impossible to even come close to getting right. But as I build optimal builds, I'm landing on Embiid and a cheap center that's only center eligible. And Towns isn't even in my thought process. So I don't know. We'll see.
I think you're exactly right. I'm glad you brought that up because I think Karl Anthony Towns, he's got to be one of the better GPP plays on the slate. And on FanDuel, I just don't think he's going to carry that much ownership because Embiid,
for sure, yeah.
Embiid, they're going to want to get exposure to Westbrook and then bring it back with Embiid. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Let's take some of these QQs. I'm going to be picking them from both the NBA Crunch Time chat and the live video chat in the RotoGrinders Discord. Starting with D-Dot, FanDuel single entry question for you, Kristi. AD or Tobias Harris?
I think I'd still go Tobias Harris. I think he has a little bit more upside with AD coming back. So,
okay. Another FanDuel GPP question from DY. Is it too risky to fade Embiid?
I don't think it's too risky. I don't, because with Karl Anthony Towns being available too, if you're not playing Embiid, I'd play Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay, great.
Can I make a comment on Embiid? I mentioned this in some sort of content today, but as good as he's been, he also has just okay games. He had two games in this stretch on FanDuel where he's at 39 and 38 FanDuel points in somewhat normalish minutes. So it's not like he's just this guaranteed lock that get 70 every night. He does have down games. If you catch it a down game on a 2-game slate when he's 70% owned,
Sure. Okay. Great point. Weeble, FanDuel cash means 2v2, Herc and Korkmaz and Porter or THT and Vanderbilt.
Ooh, I think I like the first one slightly better, but I think both are okay.
Head-to-head versus someone on Reddit. Chinatown says DK raw points, Tybal or THT?
Oh my God. I'll go THT on that one, especially on DK.
Okay. Gamble, FanDuel cash means this is a 2v2, Tybal and Russell versus Wiggy and Maxey. The latter two low-key suck, don't they? One of them is an all-star. He's starting in the all-star.
Yeah, what's an all-star starter? So bite your tongue, buddy.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't Tybal in the first one. So
he was.
Yeah. So I would go the second one on that one.
All right.
An all-star, $6K. Come on.
Yeah, that is interesting. Is it fans vote in the starters? Is that
I think so. Yeah. I don't pay attention to it, honestly, but I'm almost positive it's the fans voting.
Okay. Aside FanDuel cash question here, 2v2. And he says Vanderbilt and Mello or Porter and Andrew phony all-star Wiggins.
I mean, I'm going to go with the all-star on that one. So yeah, let's go that way.
Okay. Luke Cage, DKGP question for you, Kristi. Anthony Davis projection has him in play. Any interest?
For tournaments, definitely. I mean, again, he's going to carry lower ownership. So yeah, he's a good tournament play.
All right. BHB means DK cash question here. Tybal, Maxey, or I think that's got to be Korkmaz and Clay.
I'll go Korkmaz and Clay.
All right. Beaner, Kuminga and Looney, or Mello and Kuminga. So basically, Kristi, Looney or Mello.
For tournaments, I would say Mello.
Okay. Bullfrog says, Kristi, what is your favorite DK single entry strategy?
Oh, strategy. I would say, and it's kind of for both sides actually, but I end up going with a lot of chalk plays, and then I find one or two small ways to differentiate. So like, I still like having the core plays, but for instance, on DK, I like Edwards a lot tonight. And because he's so expensive, he's a guy that I'm a little bit overweight on.
Excellent. Okay. D-Rock, DK GPP, Kristi, Curry and Russell, or Westy and Cat?
Curry and Russell or Westy and Cat. I would say Curry and Russell.
Okay. And then another DK GPP question. Rank them, please, these three gentlemen. For DK GPP, Vanderbilt, Wiggins, Porter.
I think in that exact order. Vanderbilt, Wiggins, Porter. Yep.
Excellent. All right. Chinatown says, DK Cash, would you rather play Mello as a last piece means or just leave an open slot? He says, I'm seriously thinking of just punting with no plan because I can't play Mello in cash.
Just the way to rationalize that is say it's a 2-game slate. There's just not many options. I'm fine with Mello on a 2-game slate.
Okay. All right. Yappy says, DK cash question. I'm getting Harris and Mello in optimal. So he basically is having the same problem. Are you okay with that, Harris and Mello?
Sure.
Yeah. And then Embiid and Westbrook are in there too, by the way, which of course, if you're going to be playing Mello, you better get the spend ups. DK GPP, Kristi, would you pivot off of Thompson for Poole, considering the much lower ownership and playing time ceiling being about the same?
Yeah, I certainly think you could. I do think that I like Thompson's upside maybe just a little bit more, even though he's been at lower minutes. But I mean, if he's hitting some threes, I think there's a little more upside there.
Okay, excellent. We've got about a minute left. We have actually gotten all caught up on the questions. So if you've got a question, you got a minute to get it in. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget, if you sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, you get $10 off your first month, which is amazing. Even if you do single sport, which is already crazy cheap, you still get $10 off, which I don't even know how we can afford to give you that, but we do. Beaner says, GPP, Kristi, Noel, Davis, and Tybal, or Russell, Looney, and Mello.
Say the first one more time.
It was Noel, Davis, and Tybal.
Okay. I think I'd go the first one.
All right. Great. Less than a minute left. Questions all caught up. Kristi, who are your favorite two? Are you putting a center in your util on DK?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Who are your favorite two centers?
Yeah. I would say Karl Anthony Towns and Dwight Howard because I like going cheap there for my second one.
Okay. I like it. So it's a spend up and a spend down like a lot of people are doing, but maybe a different spend up and spend down.
Exactly. Getting away from Embiid. Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Getting mighty close to the lock here. All the questions all caught up. At least we got some good games tonight to enjoy. So not bad.
I'm really mad I missed the TNT stuff about all this All-Star stuff. I can't even imagine what they're saying right now.
Oh, yeah. DY says, DK GPP, if you stack either game, what is your preferred ratio? So Kristi, if you're stacking one game, how many, guys are you trying to pull from, 3-2, 2-1?
Yep. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll get probably maybe 2 from each side and kind of find my 2 favorites from each side.
But on this game, in this slate, a 2-2 means you're doing a 2-2 from both, right? And they're like 8. So that's not even a stack.
That's not even, exactly. It's a little trickier on the 2-game slate for sure.
Right. Okay. Well, we have hit the lock, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent work as always, means Kristi. Any ownership numbers?
You too.
Thank you. I appreciate just a little bit.
I feel like you just threw a lob to yourself right there.
I do. I say excellent work, guys, and then I pause and I wait for it to come back to me. And then when it doesn't, I'm flustered. Meansy, looking at your cash builds here, any ownership that jumps out to you, or Kristi, looking at your GPP builds, any?
Let's see.
Haven't looked yet.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Which reminds me, good time to plug our new Results DB tool.
Brand new Results DB.
Powered by Fantasy Labs.
I mean, we're powering them. We're giving the power. But
yes, we are.
I'm just reading this text.
Is that the script? Is that
it says Results DB powered by Fantasy Labs?
I didn't know that was the official script. Good work. Tip of the cap, sir.
It's ramped up for sure. It's like they had one for a while, we had one for a while, and it's merged, and it's the best of both worlds, and it's only going to get better. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody. It's still obviously showing stuff from last night, but the contest from tonight will update soon, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. It usually gets in a few minutes. We got one more question, and if we see another one, we'll get to that too. But aside says FanDuel Cash means Edwards and Bielitsa Pizza or Wiggy and Porter.
Second one.
All right. And it looks like the live stream chat has nope, they're just saying thank you, which is always good. You're very welcome. With that, we have answered all the questions. We've given all the info, and I think it's time to get on out of here and watch some hoops. So for Kristi, for Means, and for Steven, I think is producing today.
Steve,
yeah. We got 6 producers now. For Kristi, for Means, and for Steve working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.